Although they're the most popular retirement plan out there, there are some significant drawbacks to 401ks. What are those? How can you overcome them? Got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. 401k is your greatest wealth building tool. Now notice I said greatest wealth building tool. Your skill set and your human capital, some geeks like me would call it, that's your greatest income producing tool. Your ability to work and think creatively, solve problems. Gosh, that is directly correlated to your income power, so solving problems. That is your greatest income producer. How much of that income, that earning power, how much of that income do you actually capture and keep to build wealth? And the 401k is one such net. It's actually, I wouldn't have said this immediately. Kevin Korhorn did, the founder of Korhorn Financial Group, co-host of the Wise Money talk show that we have. And he said it is the greatest wealth building tool because it's accessible to most, and it's a fantastic, convenient, easy, and a lot of other benefits way of filtering some of your income into storing it up for your wealth and building wealth for you. So 401k, your greatest wealth building tool, is not perfect. It's not perfect. There are actually some challenges, some hurdles, some issues with the 401k. Now, does this mean that you should rule it out? I don't know. Probably not. But it does mean you want to be aware of these drawbacks so you can overcome them, or complement your 401k with some other retirement planning resources so that you, do balance out these drawbacks with amplifying benefits in other areas. Saw this article recently. It was clickbait, and yet I care about these sorts of things because I'm curious what information is being pumped out to you guys from non-financial planners, and is it always on point? And this one was close. We're going to go through it. I would agree with most of these. What some of the drawbacks are to 401ks. The first one is the investment lineup. I've done lots of discussions about this. As a long-term investor, well, let me just step back and say, if you're saving up money for retirement for the future, you're either a saver, an investor, or a trader. A saver is someone that is very conservative, don't like a lot of volatility. They don't want to think and worry about their investments, and oftentimes that comes with a lower volatility, comes with a lower expected return. A long-term investor, that's diversify, long-term buy and hold, make sure you've got the right strategies, maybe complementing strategies as well, but not someone that's tinkering all the time. And that's sort of the last person, is the trader. The trader is someone that has a defined approach, a system for trading, and they're comfortable buying a stock at 9.35, selling it at 11, buying it back at 1.30, selling it at 3.30, right? And doing all sorts of strategies within that. And that is not most people. And most of those strategies may work for a little time period, but eventually get snuffed out and over the long term don't work anyway, even though some certainly possible. So long-term investing, it's all about having the right mix of great investment choices. So having a diversified mix of great investment choices. And the 401k, there's been lots of research that not as many people are participating, not as many people are contributing enough, and therefore, what's one of those reasons? They found that research surveys, found that the more investment choices, the less likely someone is to save up. And so what they've done for almost all 401ks is they skinny down the investment choices. You only got a few. You've got a bunch of target date funds, which is prefab. It's an all-in-one option. So it's sort of already mixed for you, but it's mediocre, let's say, for the most part, okay? Or you can cherry pick a handful of investments yourself, but there's not a lot of choices. It's very hard to build a fully diversified portfolio. And if this is your greatest wealth building tool, that is a significant disadvantage if your investment choice and investment allocation is the biggest determinant to your long-term return and success. How can you overcome this one? Work with a certified financial planner to determine what the right mix is for you and see if you can cherry pick. Many 401ks are now offering brokerage links or brokerage option where you can go through a window and get access to more investment choices, or you can use other investments or transition some dollars out of your 401k or old 401k into IRAs, Roth IRAs, where you have a lot more investment choices and you're able to cherry pick and complement and build an entire portfolio just for you. I mean, one other piece with this risk or with this drawback of limited investment choices, not only do we believe in diversification of asset classes, but our big thing is there are times when you need diversification to work the most and it fails you. There's some sort of crisis, financial crisis. That's been the theme, guys. The last time the markets have had hiccups, it's sort of everything goes down at once. And wait a second, I thought I had diversification. We're not all eggs were in one basket. It certainly feels like it. And therefore, having different strategies. And even if you can build a robust portfolio, diversified portfolio in a 401k, you're not getting different strategies. And so work with your certified financial planner on that. Second drawback is some 401ks don't allow you to make a proactive tax decision. And what does they mean by that? And that is, there's with an IRA, let's say, in many 401ks, you can contribute pre-tax or you can contribute Roth, which is after tax. That money grows tax sheltered and then the growth comes out tax-free. Versus pre-tax, you get a tax benefit today, grows tax sheltered, and then when you pull it out, that's when you pay the tax on it. Now, there's been a Rothification of investment accounts and rules, and that's been a good thing. It gives more choice, and yet there isn't perfect choice with 401ks. Some folks, you only have pre-tax available to you. And or if you are, hey, I'm just not savvy, I'm just not familiar with this stuff, or when I first started, I'm not as familiar, and you auto-enrolled into a 401k, your HR said, you don't need to do anything, you're fine. If you want to sign up, there's nothing you need to do, we'll automatically enroll you, hands off. That means your contribution went pre-tax, and maybe it should have been Roth. So 401ks limit, in a sense, your ability to make important tax planning decisions. Now, why is this so important? Well, think about this. Early in your career, okay, maybe while you're, working part-time in college or right at the beginning of your career, you might be in a tax situation where you might pay very little or no federal taxes because the standard deductions are so big or whatever. And if you're not aware of this, you might be contributing pre-tax and not really getting a benefit for it. Now all this pre-tax money, when you draw it out there in the future, you're going to have to include it on your tax return at that time when you've got other sources of income and you are paying taxes. And so having the ability to pause and say, wait a second, should I contribute pre-tax or should I contribute Roth? And then the ability to not only pause, but then make that decision, that is key. And some 401ks don't give you that flexibility. Finally, along with this tax flexibility, most plans do not offer after-tax contributions. And you might say, wait, no, Roth, you mean Roth. Nope. There's 3 ways that you can contribute money into your 401k, if allowed: pre-tax, Roth, and after-tax. After-tax, you don't get a tax benefit for your contribution. It grows tax deferred, and then the growth comes out taxable. Why in the world would you do that? Because you can contribute after-tax, if allowed, to your 401k above and beyond the normal limits, which this year, is significant, right? And so $23,000 you can contribute, and an extra $7,500 if you're age 50 or older. And so if you're already doing that and have more to save, if your plan allows, you can do after tax, but not all plans allow it. Again, limitation with the 401k. And then lastly, another drawback to the 401k is it restricts your withdrawals. And this is true. And I think that could be good during, times when you just have an urge or maybe in the moment something feels really financially important, but if you let the moment pass, I'm glad I left the money in, that was a good move. And so they've got restrictions for a reason. You might say, it's my money. Why are there restrictions anyway? Well, when you make the contribution, you're getting a tax benefit. And so you got to follow the tax rules. And for 401ks, it's 59.5, and you need to have separated from that employer in order to draw the money out. Some plans allow for in-service withdrawals where after a certain age or 59.5, you can draw the money, you can move the money to an IRA. Many people do that to overcome that first challenge. But there's limitations on when you can get access to the money. And therefore, during your career, if you need access to it for an emergency or some other reason, it's sort of hands off. Otherwise, it's sort of, yeah, I would just say it's sort of hands off. I mean, with an IRA, you can say, okay, I'll pay the tax and the penalty. With a Roth IRA, I'll pull out my basis. Those options are not available to you in the 401k. Now, thanks to the Secure Act 2.0, they are creating a few other options that are available so that you can overcome this. I think those options are not nearly as helpful as the drawback of the complexity and how to do these exceptions. But there is going to be a sidecar account. There's going to be some other access that you'd have to your 401k. So rules are changing on that, but still this is a drawback. And then the last, I'm just going to say this really quick, the last disadvantage that this article had is not a disadvantage at all. It is a benefit. And again, that's why, I read these sorts of things to say, well, what are non-financial planners pushing out there as information? This is not a negative, it's a benefit. 401k contribution limits are high. Fantastic. That's what you want. And they're growing with inflation. You don't have to maximize it, but of all of the retirement plans out there, how can I get the most into one? The 401k, 403b as well, offers almost the maximum. And for most people, this is the maximum, the biggest bucket you have to stuff money into and get a tax shelter. You don't need to max it. I would encourage you to do so if you can, but you don't need to. So this gives you more flexibility, more options. This is a benefit, not a negative. Looking for more videos or content on how to make the 401k work for you and the most important choices that you need to make when you're investing and opening a 401k, check out this video that we did just recently as well. Extremely helpful. Work with your certified financial planner on that, overcoming these drawbacks and getting the 401k, your 401k, to be your greatest wealth building tool. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.